Hello everybody and welcome! Welcome to World Dota 2 League! Welcome to the Learn Dota 2 League, Season 14, Week 2! Don't believe the ticket, it's still a damn dirty liar. We got Thugwood, we got The Grim Adventures, we got Game 2, and with me here today is of course the Doctor of Dota, Randy.
Remaining.
You already used that joke.
What joke?
I'm Katie.
Immediate ban on Pudge by Thugwood this time. Do you not want to see it again? Last time they
No
got run over.
pudges allowed.
Really, I think there is one big thing though. Even though Pudge did it with the gigantic ADA, I do think that, you know, they also better think about that Tiny as well. No Tusk. The Tiny, I feel like, had nearly an equal amount to Pudge there as far as, you know, why they won this game. You think Hollywood's gonna first pick Marcy, like everybody else does?
10 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
If they don't, I believe this will be the first series where that doesn't happen at least once. And we got Undying, so yeah.
Undying. That is a man who was very noticeably absent from the band.
Interesting decision on the Wyvern ban. I don't think that's something that you would just kind of casually
10
drop.
seconds remaining.
I think you wouldn't drop a Wyvern ban unless you had a good reason to do so.
5
What do you
seconds
think they're
remaining.
thinking?
Could be a lot of things. Some of the Magic community cores don't like seeing the Winter Wyvern. Some people, you know, there's some people who don't like seeing the Winter Wyvern in lane in particular. Can be easily stomped out by it. Like, any kind of, like, especially off lane that's going to be looking at a lot of physical damage, for example, really doesn't like to see the Winter Wyvern. No bigger block in the world than just, oh, I'm about to get a kill on this guy, and now he's in a popsicle who can do 0 damage.
Viper Part 2.
I will be blunt enough to say I don't know why you would ban the Winter Wyvern if you're gonna first pick Viper.
Straight up Faceless Void.
Yep,
With the Pudge band, that is a very, very good pick.
that's true. There are still some definite anti-Void heroes that are in this lineup. You know, you could run back the
10
Snapfire again,
seconds
for
remaining.
example.
5 seconds remaining.
Wraith King's a very good Vasal's Void answer if you want to run him. I mean, I will say Wraith King still does feel a little bit equay, but definitely a good enough response to Vasal's Void. Void
I like Wraith King. I like Wraith King right now more than I liked him in the past few patches.
I think the biggest problem with Wraith King right now is that this is a meta where it feels like lanes are really, really important, and Wraith King is such a bad laner. He just gets walked all
Legion
over.
Commander.
Yeah,
Commander?
that's
That's
true.
not
He was
exactly-
pretty much guaranteed to lose lane.
It's not somebody that it's a very interesting scenario for
Dire
Void.
team
Can go very well for the LC, can go very well for the
Radiant
Void.
team
Depends on
back.
how everyone's positioning, how all the pieces come together.
Dire team back.
A skill matchup in Dota 2? Whoa.
You hate to see it.
That's never happened before.
Thugwood immediately knocking out the Tiny and the Lina, while on the other hand, Grim Adventures taking a look at Omni Knight here. Very interesting, the decision to
10
pick up
seconds
the
remaining.
Mickle hero very early on Grim Adventures. Well, he's presumable
5
Mickle
seconds
Mickle
remaining.
hero. I mean, I guess hypothetically we could be seeing the very rare mid-faceless Void today, but you know, it's going to be very awkward having Faceless Void on the team
Radiant
against the
team
guy
back.
just named Void.
Dire team
No
back.
Phoenix. Okay. They don't want to have two things to have to beat up, you know? Honestly, I think Grim Adventure should just pick
Dire
Snapfire this
team
round, like right here, right now. Good counter to Undying. It's a decent hero for the Legion Commander. Goes great with the Faceless Void, and okay with the Viper. Certainly makes a strong push lineup. I think this is begging for a Snapfire pick.
10 seconds remaining.
What do you think, Katie?
Maybe
5 seconds
they have
remaining.
no Snapfire players.
Maybe. You're
Don't.
gonna be the one
Don't.
that saves
No.
me.
No!
Radiant team
'Cause after all,
It's DP.
He's my death prophet. That's not a bad pick either. You're kind of leaving the Snapfire up for grabs. I do think it is definitely not great if it falls into Thugwood's lap, but Death Prophet, somebody that Undying doesn't really like to see, somebody that Legion Commander doesn't really like to see. Not great against either of them, but certainly very good with Void and better in their hands than the other teams when it comes to that. Death Prophet, of course, very easily able to secure the Roche Pit, which is really the make or break factor on Faceless Void, basically. You know, if Faceless Void's team can control the Roche Pit, Void is doing so much better for himself. If they are seeding Roche Pit, then he has, like, considerably less impact. Why is that, Katie? Pop quiz.
What was the question?
Faceless Void is a very Roche Pit dependent hero. If he's able to secure it, he does well for himself. If not, he suffers immensely. Why is that, Katie?
I'm not sure. Oh, he doesn't want the enemy team to get the Aegis more than he cares about himself getting the Aegis, yeah.
Correct. Why is that, Katie?
Because then your Chrono...
Yep, you only get one.
Yeah, you only get one. That's what I was thinking, like, why does Faceless Void need it? He only has one Chrono. Well, he doesn't need it. He just needs the enemy team not to have it.
Yep, and the absolute best way he can make the enemy team not have it is to have it himself, at which point it is removed from contention. Or just have it on somebody on his team, I mean, it doesn't really matter.
And it's also very much easier to get a good Chrono if you're doing it out of your Aegis respawn rather than on your first life.
Also true, yeah. It also gives you the opportunity to make sure there's no funny business with, like, jumps, for example. Like, for example, if on life 1, Faceless Void just gets dueled, he's just dead. No two ways about it. If he just randomly eats an arrow and then he just gets blink dueled, so far this team has nothing that can really stop that. Though, I mean, I guess Nether Toxin really just inerts Legion Commander, so I guess there is that. There is that option. That's one thing I will say. Legion Commander against Viper is a surprisingly bad matchup for the LC. Especially once Viper gets that shard. Luna! Lots of people riding on cats in this game. I don't know if I like Luna against Void, to be honest with you. I feel like Luna
I
is
don't
one
like
of the...
Luna in general. Well, okay, maybe she goes Anx build. Maybe she goes Anx Rush build and just ults Faceless Void Chrono. That requires her staying out the Chrono, of course, but
and is also instantly
it's pretty good in those scenarios. Yeah, true.
I think the big issue with Luna at the end of the day when it comes to Void, there's not many heroes that Faceless Void is going to be able to reliably and comfortably, like, win the 1v1 against when Chronosphere is not up late on in the game. Luna is on that list. I mean, when I'm talking pause ones here. You know, like, late into the game, without the Chronosphere up, you take a look at, just name 3 random pause ones, Katie.
Juggernaut.
Not gonna beat him.
Wraith King.
Not gonna beat him for sure.
Spectre.
Probably not gonna beat the Spectre. I mean, a better chance than either of those two, but that's not saying much. But you're certainly, when you're up against Luna, I think Void is going to be a credible threat to her, whether Chrono's up or not, with the amount of damage that he does, with the amount of chase he's able to bring down on her, especially with the old Marcy on his team, which does make it rather unlikely we're going to see a Snapfire in this particular game, unless they're going to be running Snapfire 3, which honestly I think, or, it could be DP3 as well, or DP Med even. But either way, unless they're going to be running a funny core Snapfire, at least assuming it's Viper 5 again, which I think you could probably assume.
Dire team back.
Oh!
Oh.
Slow Windrunner says. Surprised that Grim Adventure has banned out the Invoker there. I don't think Cranberry Sprite is much of an Invoker player, but, very famous combo there, the Void and Invoker, Faceless Void Invoker.
5 seconds remaining.
It is, of course, a notable mainstay pick for the Bush, so... I would say probably his signature mid. of the lot of them is probably Invoker. So I suppose you might be worried about that falling into their hands. And it's not like Faceless Void ever really wants to see the Invoker on the other side.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Clinks.
I don't like the Clinks pick.
That is the mid laner,
Yep,
Clinks.
I really don't like the Clinks pick, actually. There's so many things working against Clinks this game. Namely,
10 seconds remaining.
you remember what I said earlier about how Faceless Void does not need the Chronosphere for Luna?
5
Well, guess who
seconds
he
remaining.
now gets to drop the Chrono on every time he feels like it?
Clinks.
Guess who absolutely cannot survive Chronosphere? Guess who is pretty hard countered by the Chronosphere, in fact?
Clinks.
Yep. I wonder what they're going to pick last year. I do think it would not be a bad idea to get something to go inside of the Chrono. Some sort of offensive thing to be putting in there. Because so far, really, all we got on this lineup is the DP Ghosts, which are kind of unreliable to get into the Chronosphere on his own team. And, you know, if you're not in there yourself. And, like, Nether Toxin, which is just really, really small. By the way, can I also add, I don't like Luna against Viper.
Yeah, she feels really weak here. She's also gonna get jumped on by Marcy a lot, and she's not gonna like that.
And she's just gonna get eaten alive by Exorcism. Queen of
You
Pain.
may now select your hero.
That's good. That goes well into the Chronosphere. That is going to be able to squash Luna and Clinks. The one downside to that is, it's going to be 3 Viper and 5 DP here. The one downside to this entire operation is that Queen of Pain, if Queen of Pain gets dueled, she's dead. Like, 100% she's dead. Even if Viper gets another Toxin off, like, it's going to take a Chrono, basically, or Marcy to be there and just throw LC away. And if she ever gets arrowed, she's also very likely just going to die as a result. Like, pretty much all it's going to take to kill Quap is just Mirana, Arrow, plus Strafe at pretty much any point in the game. Or no, it's not Strafe, it's Burning Barrage. But I'm going to call it Strafe anyway, because hell with it.
I didn't know Cranberry played Quap.
I didn't know either. You learn something new every day.
Wait, so do we cover the fact that Viper is 3 and Death Prophet is 5? You said
Yeah, I
it, but
did.
like, what do you think of that? I think
I like
that
it.
was like...
I like it more.
Really? I thought it was a pretty bad idea. I thought maybe the Death Prophet would want some more.
The thing is, I don't think Death
influence
Prophet...
over the game.
I don't think Death Prophet is going to need to do anything in this game besides hit R. Like, this is not a game... Like, just hit R and silence sometimes.
Hmm.
The EXO isn't going to necessarily be a focal point of the fight. Whereas on the other hand, I think one thing that you really do want to have is you want to be having Viper having some damage behind him, so he's going to be able to be a menace to Clinks through a lot of the game. He's going to be able to
Prepare for
stand in the Luna ult and go toe-to-toe with her, which is probably the biggest upside to get out of this. A support Viper is never able to do that, but like a core Viper who's going to be able to build like a BKB, or probably doesn't even need that, he could probably just build like Eternal Shroud or Pipe or something, right? Is going to be able to just stand in the Luna ult, eat it, and eat her, right?
Right.
He's going to be able to deal better with the Tombstone, because he's likely to be building more range. And of course he's going to be pulling out his Shard earlier, which is going to make him very annoying for LC to deal with earlier. And speaking of which, going to make him much more likely to be able to actually win a duel with LC, if it happens to him.
Your body to ashes.
Whereas DP doesn't really lose anything going on this
30
position.
seconds to
They are
battle.
going to get smoked on here. Hollywood sends out the arrow. As they say in the business, this is a 7-10 split, goes right down the middle. Astoundingly, even though it's all 5 people here, at least it was, we're Radiant's actually going to contest this.
The battle begins.
Or Daya, rather, is going to contest this.
Oh,
Ultimately,
damn.
does not work out
okay.
well.
Marcy is Marcy, so he gets down. Tallball's
Yep.
going down though.
And that ain't great. I think this is an unfortunate situation where Marcy really needed that level 1 Q, I think. If the Q comes out level 1, I think that's basically a guaranteed kill on Undying, and because that didn't happen, you just lost their own guys instead. Cest La Vie. It just hit me, this is Jackie Chan here at mid against the Quap. Where is Clinks at?
What were you expecting?
Okay, BBC
Clinks
Piper's
off laner.
Yep, Clinks off laner being played by the Bush as well, so they're just straight roll flopping here.
That's a
This is
weird
interesting.
swap.
They just want to have, I guess they just don't really care much about the fate of mid, and just want to have Bully and lane for Mikkel to have to deal with. Which, I mean, this is a pretty hugely bullying lane.
Freeze.
Meanwhile, Legion Commander is not really very afraid of Quaps, so they can definitely live with that. I will say this much. This bot lane is going to start struggling against Viper really soon. Especially once PVC starts getting more levels, starts getting some dispose action going on. You know, one of the worst things in the world for Luna to be dealing with is that corrosive skin, which both makes Lucian Beam basically a total non-option for her, and means that any sort of Moonglaves that come out are going to start damaging her as much as they damage Viper, if he's not the main target. Which isn't exactly great. In addition to that, you know, if Luna sits in the Nether Toxin, this is most certainly a lane where I would put the value point in the Nether Toxin. If Luna has to sit in the Nether Toxin, she is absolutely useless. Can't fight, can't exist, can't do anything.
And only 1-200 are Viper expert.
Thank you.
Viper Shard, of course, being your favorite item in the entire game.
Yes. That's what I talk about it every
Unironically.
day.
You can pretend that never happened.
You think about it every day, all day, every day. You think about Viper Shard.
I don't think there's a compelling reason to pick Viper if you're not going to get the shard relatively early. Like, if you pick him and you don't get it, then you're just wasting the pick.
They won't profit from us.
Very interesting lane comps here. Radiant is currently
What's
taking a last hit lead.
The status of the tombstone right now.
About to come out more than
Alright,
likely.
Matty
No.
Boy could go down here in a second if he plays this wrong.
Uh-oh.
Does Roxy not have mana to draw the tombstone?
No.
Yeah. Oh, he has 3 mangoes though. I feel like he should have just dropped it there. Oh, this could have been a big mistake. There we go. Where is Clinks through all this?
He has nothing to do with this. Void, Faceless Void almost turns around there, but does ultimately get the kill.
Got the kill and he got the tombstone goal. That's pretty bad.
Yep. I can say this much. It's only 4 minutes, so it's already feeling a little bit like this lane switch up hasn't really panned out for them. LC's got a bunch of last hits and is very likely to get 6 very fast, and that's basically the entire exhaustive list of upsides that they got out of it. Clinks' last hits aren't good. They're less than Void's at this point, which is almost kind of unthinkable, to be honest with you. And of course, Void has a
no tombstone. No answer to this.
goes right down. So now Void has 1 kill and 1 A. And of course, this is a point where it's going to start getting really nasty to be these supports in this lineup. There's one thing I'm going to say. I do think there is one way that I think PVC has miscast himself a little bit in this pause 4 role. PVC needs more XP than this. If you're pause 4, you cannot be level 2 at 5 minutes. It's just like, you really do need to be able to have more of an impact on your lane than this.
Princess Mirana.
A lot of jumps happening here.
Yep. Very athletic lane, as PVC Pipe runs off with this creep wave. And then dies.
Rip.
Viper getting levels is good, make no mistake, huh? Oh, is that just, yeah, it's just the first
just a duel.
Anyway, Viper getting levels here is good, make no
middle
mistake
tower
here, but I
is
think
under
if Marcy is at least equal level to Mirana there, I think that goes quite a bit better for her. Shout outs to the train, who you're probably not going to hear.
I heard it.
Well, you're going to hear it, Katie, but the people at home can't because I got text or push to talk on.
Oh.
Yeah, I got text to speech on. This is actually a very elaborate deepfake. Hello, Katie. How are you today, Katie?
Damn, text to speech just keeps getting better. Mirana looking to gank here.
You're at top. Trying to bait Mikkel out from under the tower, I think.
Mikkel is just going to kill this
Yep.
tombstone.
No,
Okay.
Mikkel is actually going to eat the max range arrow and then die.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
The good news is at the very least, Quab gets
Dire's
first
structures
ult
are
back.
fortified.
Tall Balls is using his nether toxin on the lane way too much here, which is to say basically at all, but it is a very mana inefficient way
Radiant
to
structures
stay in
are
this lane.
fortified. Dire's top tower is under attack.
Very notably means that he's really limiting himself when it comes to potential options for dealing with the Luna there. He's going to likely have rather free range. Like you can see here, like this isn't good. Should not be doing this as this is what you do as mid Viper, not here Viper.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Remember, Sprite has come top to try and get something done up here, but really just kind of is spectating what's going on here. DP's back to mid. It's decided she's had enough. By the way, it's 2 levels down from LC at this point. Only 1, but...
Invisibility.
Another successful gank on the Death Prophet here.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Solo
attack.
kill, says Mirana. Which really doesn't mean terribly much, but this constant tri-lane up here has started to give Clinks quite a heavy last hit advantage.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
I think what needs to happen probably more than likely is for old Mikkel. I mean, he really can't just retire to the jungle though, can he? Because it's not a hero that can easily do that.
Yeah, not until Maelstrom.
I think maybe what Nickel needs to do is to head down to the bot lane, which is harder for the enemy team to access now. Just trade off with Tall Balls. Have Tall Balls come up here, soak some damage, get some hits in, work with Marcy and the Death Prophet to try and get some kills under his belt. Rather than just kind of sticking around bot lane and doing very, very little. He's trying to compete with Luna for farm in the jungle right now. Not surprised, but it's not going to go that great for him. I hope there's at least one time in this game when LC duels the Marcy right after she ults and just dies.
It's mine.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Don't
attack.
think this duel is gonna be won. I was very
Unsuccessful duel.
close. Oh, the chrono return.
Yeah, but the chrono really doesn't mean anything. Void just doesn't have even close the amount of damage he needs to get anything done on it.
No damage?
Dire's top tower is under attack.
No bitches?
Correct. Top T1 just goes down very quickly to the army of people who have shown up for it. Mikkel fails to stack this camp because the ogre inside of it just randomly stops to stun for no reason.
Radiant structures
Then he eats an
I
arrow.
love that mechanic.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
They're
attack.
really relentless into this void.
Yeah, he just needs to go somewhere else. He needs to go where they can't stop him. Like, into the depths of the jungle isn't bad, but he's gonna be farming really slow here. He just needs to get going, as I say.
Who says?
By LC. They.
Alright.
Well, they avoided throwing a duel there, which is good.
Radiant's middle
That
tower
wasn't
is
a
under
duel win?
attack.
Don't think so. LC should have won. Yeah, she has won, so that was not a duel win. Because we saw earlier her get the winter text pop up for her in mid.
If only Marcy wasn't in the way.
Radiant's middle
the
tower
arrow.
has fallen.
That is a unfortunate rotation here by the Radiant down here to mid. They neither got the Queen of Pain nor the tower they were looking for here. Or defended the tower, rather than themselves looking for it. Faceless Void got himself a Possessed Mask, which is going to help him find similar farm. He also just finished his Midas as well.
Dire's bottom tower
Which means
is
it's time to
under
look at that
attack.
net worth chart. This is a very interesting scenario. You know, once again, Mikkel and Bush are just going right up against each other. The two richest people, okay, now it's like a three-way race, but the richest people in this lobby are the people who lane against each other. You do not see that often. You remember how earlier I was talking about how all Death Prophet needs to do this game is just hit EXO?
She doesn't have EXO.
Yeah, she desperately needs to get it at this point. She's already one book in. Death Prophet at level 5 in a game like this has absolutely no value. Especially without any sort of silence going on. Like, really, really needs to get somewhere fast. Nicholas finally gone forward in time and listened to my advice. I guess that's what happens when you're Faceless Void. And has very quickly found himself at the top of the net worth chart now that he's been able to farm without any attention being paid to him. Notably, especially considering that to Bush, until he's just started to take this ancient stack over here. He's been looking for fights at mid and not really finding them. Those are going to be a very easy duel. Rest in peace. There's no detection for this Mirana ult on Dire of any kind. I don't think it matters much. While this is going on, Faceless Void pushes creeps out to T2 bot. Gonna get quite a bit of chip on this before the wave shows up. Klink's competing with the Luna here.
We talked about Legion and Void being a skill matchup, but Legion is so good against the rest of Void's team that I think she'll be quite a bit fed before Faceless Void is able to get kills reliably in Chrono.
Well, consider that they have 11 kills and LC has a grand total of 2 dual wins. So the problem for LC is that it's going to be hard for this game to actually win out the duels unless she gets a very easy target.
She's
like
been
this, for
getting
example.
those. Yeah.
Well, she's gotten 2
There
of
is
those.
there
where I'm
is
going
no
here.
shortage of those though, like yeah, so far she's only got 2, but
No, it's 3. Here's the
this
problem.
is consistently happening in this game so far.
The ultimate biggest problem is, once they come together, to any real degree, it's gonna end. LC has to, like, if LC duels around the, man, Undying's got a lot of strength still there, wasted a lot of time as a result. If LC duels and Viper is nearby, he just drops another Toxin on the duel, and LC cannot possibly win it anymore, basically, no matter what happens, on her own devices. You know, if Marcy's around the duel, she can just throw LC away. If Void is around the duel, he can just say no to it entirely, you know?
Dire's top
Once
tower
this team
is
starts to
under
come
attack.
together a little bit more, the dual ones are going to be becoming very hard. The problem is right now that everybody has been splitting up so much on Dire, trying to find some semblance of farm, I suppose, that every time LC has been around, it's been chasing one individual person, and their team is halfway across the map. Like what's about to happen here, for example.
I fear nothing that moves in the night.
Or maybe not.
Radiant are
Going
scanning.
to scan out north side of the jungle here on Radiant's part, but this is not where Void is. Not where Marcy is either. He's just kind of farming with... Okay, maybe it is close to where Void is, actually. They're going to just run into tall balls. Honestly, I think Viper is not playing this match particularly well. He's the best answer they got to LC in the early game, and every time he's encountered LC, it's been in a one-on-one situation. It's not the ideal circumstance for somebody who can duel. Definitely needs to get together more with the support line. Get some kills going, you know?
For sure.
Like, wandering around and trying to farm is what Viper does worst. He is so bad at
Radiant's
that.
bottom tower is under attack.
Duel and LC have just come up. And Marcy's gonna run right into it.
This is so ridiculously easy for LC. This is what I was saying. Like, this just keeps happening.
This is a masterclass in how not to play against LC, and that's the biggest problem. Like, it shouldn't be happening. That's the worst part. But everyone wants to be alone against this lineup, and it's just going horribly for them. And again, no detection coming out here. Tick-tock. Lynx is going to go down very quickly. LC likely to follow. She's going to... Nope, she's actually just going to kill Viper here because he's starting to fight under the tombstone.
You are joking.
Certainly if this happens, then LC is going to be a menace when it comes to fighting Void. Problem is, she shouldn't be. They really cannot play against LC like this. Like, I know even if you have if you don't have the advantage, it can be tempting to never be like together. If you don't have the advantage, it can be very tempting to say, okay, everybody just split up, gang. Support just goes solo ward. No, that is not going to win you anything against LC. When you're facing LC, you got to operate in like pairs minimum, or else this is just going to keep happening, man. Every single time LC has had a duel when more than one person was around for it, it's failed. Every time. And every time she's had a duel when there's only been one person there, it's worked.
Soon it'll be getting to the point where it won't fail. When there's more than one person there.
Nah, still can't beat it when the Nether Toxin or the Chronosphere are on the floor.
People around, they're just not
Doing
ready.
anything? Yeah.
Yeah.
This has got to be, like... This has got to be exactly what Mikkel just doesn't want to see in this game, basically, like...
Legion eats your entire team for lunch and then what?
Then you drop Chrono on her, she still dies. Is the answer. Which is the nice bit. And one of the nice bits is that no matter what happens at any point in the game, you can be reasonably certain that the Clinks and the... Okay, goodbye, Void.
That was very well played.
The Clinks and the Legion Commander are always going to be relatively close to each other. You can be fairly confident that you're usually going to be getting them both in the Chrono. But it's going to be pretty tough to kill both of them, especially if you don't get like the Undying in there. I don't know. I feel like Grim Adventures had a very good answer to this lineup, and they're just not answering it, you know? Which is always the hardest kind of game to watch. It's the exact, funnily enough, it's the exact same situation that
Dire's
GRAS
turret has been
Laboratory,
killed.
it felt like they were in against Matty Boy's team in week 1. It felt like the GRAF lineup had a very good answer to what Matty was packing, but the actual execution factor on it was just not good.
I'm not in the mood.
Well, that duel failed. So there's that at least.
Was foolish of you.
Let's see the Legion items.
Here you go. Nothing too much here.
Yeah, not too much yet.
Which, I mean, isn't surprising. She's just been running around getting kills. I don't think she's hit a creep in like 30 minutes. It's longer than this game's been going on, so you know. Mickle, by the way, has randomly died at some point during this fight.
I didn't catch that either.
Yeah, I don't know. This is looking really unrunnable for Matty Boy's team. Oh, DP did just win a duel. Even without the actual Netherdoxa being involved in it. And Undying's just gonna drown in the break use. So that is kind of funny.
Is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
Pudge throwing up. By the way, have you seen an EXO yet this game? Because I don't think I have.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's middle
I've
tower
seen
is
one.
under attack.
But I'm pretty sure it was swiftly ended by
Dire's
Legion.
middle tower is under attack.
Void is starting to fall quickly on this net worth chart, as Clinks and Luna have just been feeding on their team the entire time. Which again, I don't think is a game ender by any stretch of the term in that fact. But I mean, the problem is going to be, what you need out of a chrono is starting to increase very rapidly as this game goes on. It's like, if all Void needs to get in a chrono is just Clinks, which is like the starting status quo, like how this game goes in the perfect world, all Void needs to get is Clinks, then like, hey, that's aces, that's fantastic, right? That's not that much that Void has on its plate. Well, and now you also have to get LC in the Chronosphere. Now you also have to get Luna in the Chronosphere. You know, it has to, like, the net you cast is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. That ain't great. And once again, solo support eliminated from existence. Oh hey, at least it goes the opposite way here too. Good chrono here on Clinks. He's just gonna die immediately, especially without Undying being around to settle accounts. And Undying has unfortunately just committed the cardinal Undying sin of dropping the tombstone right before he died. Okay, now we're just going the exact opposite way, where everybody's just kind of cramming themselves together to jump inside the chronosphere, and now it's starting to look a lot more competitive again. Why is this People's Gift here? Whose People's Gift is that? That is not... That is a rating.
Worthy tribute.
Katie,
Yeah.
you know, People's Gift is a pretty good item for some Agi heroes. That's all I'm saying.
Which ones?
Well, either Clinks or Luna, they also have a Ring of Basilius, so, you know. I mean, Clinks has that bullwhip, but, you know, other people can also bullwhip folks, especially anybody
can't
using a
let
pig
them
pull,
see
which is
us.
basically just the worst bullwhip. That's all I'm saying. Very ambitious go on Clinks' part, but not if Mirana's in the perfect spot to finish the account here.
That was so perfectly executed.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest difference that you can see in this game. It's like Thugwood in the Thug Chans or whatever. They came into this knowing exactly how they have to play this game to win it, and they did. Let's just be blunt. On paper, they had the worst draft, but the execution factor came in so much better for them, or at least so far has come in so much better for them. Whereas on the other hand, even though the Dire have a better draft on paper, what they're actually doing with it is kind of feeding themselves into the meat grinder all the time. Is not a good way to go about this. Faceless Void going for Manta style here. Wants to clog up any Luna ults that fall on top of his head.
This is such a good way to play with like a low MMR pulse one in your team as well. I think Void is Guardian. Just make it so that the Luna cannot fail. There is nothing the Luna can like do in this game that is bad.
She could just start running down mid.
Okay, you know what I mean.
It's true. I do know what you mean. I do think there is a bit of, like, I think there's a bit more to it than that, but I do get what you mean. Interesting decision, by the way, putting the Aegis on Luna. I definitely would have thought that would have gone to Clinks, because he's really... I mean, Clinks has died at pretty nasty times. Luna has never died so far, so, you know. Five-man smoke coming out from the Dire here. Chronosphere is up. They ideally want to get either LC or Clinks on this, but Clinks is nowhere close to this mess.
It's time.
It's time to duel.
Invisibility.
LC barely winning out on that duel, just dies immediately to follow. Marcy and Viper both buying back. This is gonna be very awkward if nothing comes of it though.
Clips down.
KB.
Must just run away.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Mikkel just uses the oh no! He used the Manta style to dodge the Clinks, but he did not have enough mana to Chronosphere anymore because he did that.
Damn, Chrono's quite a hefty chunk of mana, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very hard to itemize around it. Like, you know, Void cannot really effectively use a lot of high mana cost items as a result of it. Like, you know, you can't just, usually, unless you're just specifically doing so, like you're just packing like a Soul Ring or something here with it. You can't just drop a Chronosphere on 0 people, that would just be silly. Katie? Katie?
Yeah.
I'm dying now. That killed me.
It's only funny.
No. Honestly, I just called the GGs after that.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
If I'm Mikkel, after that, I'm immediately calling GG. I'm immediately jumping off a bridge. I'm swimming down the river after I jump off the bridge. It is not suicide. I am jumping off of a bridge. I'm swimming down the river. I'm swimming out in the ocean. Gonna swim all the way across the Pacific. I'm going to move to Timor-Leste and start going under the name Miguel.
Miguel.
Dire's middle tower.
Poor Mikkel. What can you do?
See?
Cranberry Sprite is going to get totally buried from Viper's Fly. Actually, good use of skills there prevents Cranberry from actually going down to that duel. Cranberry is going to go down in the end, but they had to use quite a lot to get just that, and nothing else. Again, no detection for this Mirana ult.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Zip, zip.
It's actually quite a bad spot for LC to be in. Yeah, she's just going to casually die now.
Mikkel team. Well, not Mikkel team, Matty Boy team, but it is basically Mikkel team. Staying in.
Another phase.
First life down for Luna. Matty Boy himself is going to really die
Never
straight.
do give up when you have a faceless void. Anything can happen.
Yeah, the funniest thing is this had nothing to do with Chronosphere either. In fact, it can't possibly have anything to do with Chronosphere. He's out of mana again. Oh, this really sucks for Void. That was like a way better Chrono. If he had dropped Chrono right there, and I'm sure he would have had he had the mana to do it, he would have immediately seen Clinks because Clinks was Invis standing right next to him, and Clinks would have just died instantly, and this would have been like a big turnaround moment for them. Still a pretty solid fight though. Losing Quap there did not help their matters much. I do feel like losing a lane for them really sucks. It basically means DP is only really going to be able to use EXO here, as far as pushes go from now on. Oh, now we get a moment to think. I do think there is sort of a tipping edge to this game if it goes on long enough. I do think that this game does keep going. If Thugwood isn't able to just put it away within the next couple of team fights, it could get bad very fast. There's just a couple of fights where Clinks just randomly eats it. Is going to
Oh, Luna.
And here's a fight where Luna's just going to randomly eat it.
Chose it was worth it to solo Chrono the Luna. What do you think about that?
No. I think there's only really two people in this game that Void can solo Chrono right now. That's Clinks and LC.
Money to good use.
Blessings
Luna is
upon
at the
a
top of the
loyal
net
warrior.
worth chart, but Luna is building... Well, I mean, I guess that's fine, actually. I
Raise
thought
no
Luna was
hand in
building more for
anger
push
until
than she was for
cross.
actually fighting, but no, it's fine. The downside to this is that now the enemy team is going to push the T3's top, and there's not really a lot that Grim Adventures can do about this, really.
Dire structures.
I mean, honestly, Matty Boy's just gonna eat an arrow, and then maybe... No, the Blink Dagger's not gonna be up. Faceless Void has to TP for like half an hour.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Let's finish
has fallen.
his Mjolnir, and they did take out bot T2 while they were here. Smoke coming out. Immediately kind of gets trolled out by Mikkel there, just bashes a creep while in public. Maybe he's trying to go for some bait, but... Okay, he did just win a duel!
Some insane turnaround happening.
They did randomly lose Marcy in top lane to the Clinks and Undying combo, but Faceless Void just won a duel, and that's got to be very good for them right now. Not only did Void just win a duel, he also has Chrono up in 30, and as mentioned, he did just pick up a Maelstrom for himself. He's now looking at a Lincoln Sphere, okay. Just doesn't want to get hit by the stupid Clinks thing anymore. So, DP, you have an item for this, my man. That exact situation of what you need to be immediately mashing that Yules button for.
This will do nice.
It's not like it's very likely Matty lives in this situation, but... And again, I just like to point out, once again, I feel like legitimately we've seen at most 2 Exos this entire game. He is really, you know, last game we were talking about Tall Balls holding onto the black hole. This game is definitely Matty Boy holding on to the Exo. Not like there would have been a good place to use it. I'm just using this opportunity to talk about that. You know how it goes.
I know. The thing I was trying to say earlier is that I think the meta of peeling for your pause 1 or stunning the guy who's going on your pause 1 to say your pause 1 is over, the meta right now is just to kill the guy who's going on your pause 1.
Right?
For the effort.
I feel like you see a lot of more greedy cores nowadays. Before, if you went like carry tri-core, you just lose because all those people need farm. But now, the game state is so slow. It's very much the meta, at least in low MMR, and even past that is very much doable.
I
Right.
trust everyone was out of sight.
Again, no detection. Well, they did have one observer, but that's not a sentry. Nothing to do for the Mirana ult. Michael just kind of running back and forth here. Do not think he realizes just how deep he could be in. Ooh, that was close. We're just gonna start hitting the racks, but unfortunately Viper is gonna make that really annoying for her. Wood has not actually finished his Lincoln Sphere yet, so he got to eat the entire Clink's Leibnir.
I was going to say Luna was about to get Chrono. Okay, he went for a much better position Chrono than just chronoing the Luna.
But unfortunately, he is just so far behind at this point, it still just doesn't matter.
Dire's top barracks has fallen.
The Queen of Pain ult is going to get quite a bit done here. Link's going to go down. You know, actually, maybe. Well, no, never mind. They're just all going to die now. Alright.
Hungry no?
GG.
I mean, they should. There's not really a credible reason to believe they can do anything anymore. I mean, this is just a very open and shut case. I think this is kind of bad execution on the part of, unfortunately, I hate to say it. Oh, there we go. That's that exo I was talking about. Bad execution on the part of Grim Adventures has really led them down a dark, deep rabbit hole here. Just so much money was thrown so early in the game to LC, to Clanks, to even Luna, that he just got to sit on the enemy cores. And not even in lane. In lane, things went okay for Grim Adventures, but just when it came into the early game, right? The post-lane phase, you know, it just kind of turned into everybody just kind of casually wanders around, everybody just kind of does whatever. And you can kind of see here one issue with their draft strategy. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a lot of very low Dota Plus rankings on these heroes. And it did feel like it. It did feel like, for the most part, Grim Adventures could not really actually play the heroes that they drafted in this game, which was the biggest thing. Felt like Tall Balls felt very alien on the Viper. It felt like PvC fight felt very alien on the Marcy. It felt like, you know, the DP, the Queen of Pain. It just kind of felt like the rest of the Grim Adventures was just not really very confident at any point in the game about like the strength levels of their heroes, anything like that, you know.
Yeah, the DP was definitely just DP is strong, let's have it somewhere in our team. But I
Right.
still think it should have been a core.
I don't think so. Like I said, I think like what does it change if DP is a core? And remember that Viper, who was able, even as bad as this game went, remember that what you're training for this is Viper, who is able to fight Luna and LC and Clinks, is not able to do this anymore. Remember that that's what you're training. What does she get by being a core?
It's just like I hate to say it, but it's just having anyone but Matty on the strong hero.
Well, I mean, then in that case, why can't we do DP4 Marcy 5?
Sure, that could have worked.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I think Grim Adventures, the game one for them looked like really good. It looked way better than either of their games in week 1 did. Their game 2 looked way worse than either of their games in week 1 did. It really just looked like they had no idea how to run this team comp at all and no idea what to do against the Thugwood team. And then the Thugwood team just knew exactly what they had to do this game and just did it. It's really as simple as that. It's just a matter of execution. I think the Grim Adventures draft is better. I think it could be considerably better. But it would have to be played by people with more of a comfort level on these heroes than you saw on basically anybody on this lineup. And I think the general strategy also definitely needed some work. I think even if we're not very confident on these guys, even if we don't really know how to play these guys, right? Even if we're in that state on this lineup, which it did feel like that's where we were at, I feel like if at like 10 minutes everyone just says, okay, we're just going to be 4, every time Death Prophet that you see anybody, you just hit R instantly, you know, if we say that, rather than, okay, let's split up and let LC, who has gotten basically like very little out of lane phase, let's just feed the hell out of her now. If we do that instead, I think Grim Adventures really has no way to lose this match, arguably, unless the Chronos
Let's
get
split
really
up
bad.
and look for clues.
That's what they did. And they unfortunately they never got a clue by the end of the game, and this is how it went for them. So, if you or somebody you know want to learn Dota 2 at a casual or more competitive level, go to ld2l.gg today to sign up. And as usual, the sponsor is Pause 3 Dojo, going to be opening at the start of week 3. So, well, right after the week 3 games. So, in just
Oh,
a
we're
couple of
doing
days.
we're doing that. We're doing Pause 3 Dojo.
Yes. Yeah, I would have
Nice.
started it this week, but I legitimately saw like 3 games of week 1 before week 2 started, so you know how that goes. So anyway, Katie, anything to say about this before we go?
No, not really.
Really? Nothing at all?
You said like anything as though I had a choice. Now you're telling me to say something.
Yeah, basically.
You probably just okay to ban Disruptor Mirana against Hollywood in the future. You don't want him on his Grandmaster heroes, either of them, even if you think you can let them through. His Mirana is vicious. His Disruptor, less so against some drafts, but he's Grandmaster. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I want to say on record that I wanted our first bans in the game we did against BBC to be Mirana Jakiro, and Dragon was like, no, and I just could not argue with him that day. In hindsight, I wish I had. Anyway, we'll see you next time.